Today's toy spot, we are having a look at the Diamond Select Toys Disney Store exclusive Unmasked Spider-Man. This special collector edition action figure comes with multiple hands, an alternate head, and several different webbing attachments. This comes to us from the folks over at Diamond Select Toys, and actually there were two versions available. I guess the Disney Store exclusive is really the Unmasked that we're looking at today, but a regular retail version of this figure had the masked Spider-Man, and he came with a couple of accessories like the firefighter's helmet, and he came with a couple of alternate hands. I'm not super keen on the whole firefighter gimmick. I know it was like that in the movie and he wore it at some point in the movie, but you know what? As a figure, I'm not ever really going to be displaying Spider-Man with a firefighter's helmet. I might ultimately get that figure at some point, but really, for me, the unmasked version was where I wanted to get this figure. May not necessarily display him with the Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker head, but I still like the fact that they could include that. You get a large clamshell case, which is a familiar sight with the Diamond Select Marvel Select figures. There's a picture of Spider-Man down below there. We spin around the side of the package. A really neat looking image there of Spider-Man, and I like in the movie how he had the larger eyes. That was a great looking design for Spider-Man. I thought the outfit was a little too dark, a little too dark of a red, but as a whole though, I really like the outfit. On the back, the Amazing Spider-Man Marvel Select Unmasked Spider-Man. There is actually no read-up or anything like that either. You can head over to www.marvelkids.com, and of course you can head over also to the folks over at Diamond Select Toys at www.diamondselecttoys.com. Spot is going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Disney Store exclusive Unmasked Spider-Man. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. So, the Amazing Spider-Man does come with a slew of different accessories. If you ask me though, I don't know if some of the accessories are really a requirement to be especially included with this, but still we'll have a look at those in a minute. First, let's have a look at Spider-Man himself. Now, currently I've got the Andrew Garfield Peter Parker face on it, and it's not a bad looking face, actually. All things considered, it's actually a pretty good looking likeness of Andrew Garfield. I've got like a little bit of scuff on the side of his face there, just a little bit of paint imperfection. But, you know, as a whole though, I really think it's a pretty good job on him. The hair is sculpted quite nicely. And again, though, it's not something, I'm probably not going to display him with this head necessarily, I do like that they were able to include that. For me, I prefer the Spider-Man head, which obviously would be included. And to change out the head with the Peter Parker head, it's very, very easy. In fact, the sockets don't hold to the ball joints too much that you're really forcing to get the ball joint off. As for getting the head back on, just put a little bit of pressure and pop that back onto the socket. And there you have a really nice looking Spider-Man. Again, preference entirely up to you. I guess really if you had the opportunity, you might want to get the regular version of the Spider-Man with the firefighter's helmet and whatnot. And then you can get the Disney Store exclusive if you want the blind or the unmasked version with Peter Parker's face. A good way to go. I mean, both heads equally nice. Obviously though, for Spider-Man, I'm going to display him with the mask. And the mask really turned out nice. Showing you guys a closer look at that face. Yeah, it's really nice. I find with also Diamond Select, the more Marvel Selects they seem to do, they really perfect the art of making these figures. Also too, like we're getting to such a fine margin between what we're getting with the Marvel Select figures and what we're getting with the Marvel Legends figures. Back in the day, with some Marvel Select figures, you didn't have a lot of articulation to speak of. So that was a lot of times when you would want to go and look into the realm of a Marvel Legends figure, because it had a lot of articulation. But now what we're getting with Marvel Select figures, it's really, again, a very, very fine line between Marvel Legends, Marvel Select, that a lot of times, especially in this figure, I think this figure trumps the figure that we got with the Marvel Legends Spider-Man line, the one that had the Build-A Green Goblin figure. I think this figure is a better looking figure. I think the only thing I would say, though, as a one hindrance to the figure itself is I feel like his stomach feels a little large. I don't know. His torso seems to work fine. Like this section right here, I think is really done nicely. But I don't know, I kind of feel like it's a little too wide or a little too bulky in the stomach area. I feel like it could be just a little more narrow. But aside from that, though, it's a great, great looking figure with some really fine, intricate details, some of which you would come to find now with the Spider-Man movie costumes. It's got all this kind of individual, very, very fine, almost like a little brick grid print that they put in the blue. All the webbing is sculpted on the red and painted pretty nicely. I don't see a lot of imperfections, maybe a little bit around the neck area, but for the most part it is pretty clean. The logo on the front works. The logo certainly on the back, nice and clean as well. It's a very well-rounded Spider-Man. For Spider-Man's articulation, as we mentioned, he has a really nice ball joint in the head. Moves quite a bit left and right, up and down, and it probably lends itself to that he's got a ball joint in the top that goes into the head socket, and then he's got a ball joint at the bottom area where it goes into his neck. So you get a lot of movement not only from the bottom ball joint but also from the top. He does have pin and socket shoulders, so they do rotate forward and back out. He does have no swivel in the bicep. However, he does have a swivel in the arm and a hinge in the elbow, which more than makes up for that. He does have a hinge and rotation in the hand, so you get lots of movements there. I mean, really, you can get some awesome looking poses from Spider-Man here. He has the upper torso ball joint. Again, that swivels left and right. I mean, obviously problems too when you start rotating the torsos. To no fault of the figure, when you rotate it, the webbing may start becoming dissectional from the rest of the torso. So, again, you kind of have to move it to a position that makes sense for the suit. The legs are on also a ball hinge socket, so they rotate forward, back, out. A nice swivel in the thigh, double bend at the knee, and a hinge and bend in the foot. Definitely really a phenomenal figure, and again, lends itself to when you can start looking at a super detailed figure like this that has the level of articulation that you come to expect with a Marvel Legends figure. Why not just get a figure like this that I think still has a better looking sculpt than the Legends version? As for accessories, Spider-Man comes with a crap load of different accessories. He has a slew of different hands, depending on what your preference is. He's got some spider shooting hands, and each of those hands also have a little ledge. I just pull that off there. A little ledge right there that come with their own supplied web shooting web. Web shooting web. You get a little bit of the web stream coming out of his hand. And again, same idea with the other hand. There's that little bit of a ledge there that just pegs into place. You can take his hands and just wiggle them out of the socket like so. And you can change out any one of those hands with one of the interchangeable hands that he comes supplied with. I'm not super keen on the partial shooting web because it just kind of seems like it stops. I understand that for the purpose of, the way they include, obviously where does that webbing stop, that at least it looks like, okay, it looks like he's shooting it partially at Electro. So I like that. I like that a lot. Now, the thing is, though, as I put Spider-Man right here, the thing is, though, he does come with other hands. And I can't figure out why he comes with so many hands as he does. Now, the hands that he came included with were the, of course, open Spider-Man hands. And I always think those are nice hands to include. He comes with the partially shooting web hands. But then he's got fists. And you would ask yourself, well, what's the difference between them? I'm sure some of them have, for example, some of them have like little areas right here where it looks like he can hold a web. And he has longer webs. I'll show you that in a second. But then other hands are close-fisted. You know, it seems like to me, what would be a real significant difference? Why not just have one pair of hands? If I'm going to have a pair of hands that has that little tiny notch, see that little notch right there? You see my finger kind of going behind it? That area between his thumb and his pointer finger. And then you have a look at the other hand, which is completely closed-fisted. I don't see why. I appreciate it that they did give us two versions of the hands, but they're so similar to one another that I don't even need like this hand if I'm going to be getting a hand such as this. And that seems to be the case with the other hand as well. Partially open hand, and then you got more of a closed fist. So, I don't know. I don't think it's really that much of a necessary additional pieces. I like that they included them, but I don't feel as if they're really needed. You get yourself these really long spider webs, and same idea. Now there's a little hook on the end here. My guess is you could take two webs and you can hook the two together, and they're not super easy to do, but you can hook the two webs together and you can form, let's see if I actually get this one right here, you can actually form a longer web, and you can kind of, you know, have it twist and turn, and you can have it kind of wrapped around Spider-Man, which is kind of a neat touch. I kind of wish that these could have been like more of a pipe cleaner, but due to how thin they are, it would be a very hard thing to accomplish. In fact, be very careful too hinging it. You can see, yeah, Spot bent it just a little too much. There's a little bit of a stress mark right there. So don't do what Spot just did. That would be disastrous. You don't want to be breaking these pieces off because Spot told you, yes, go ahead and do that. But you know, I like the really long webbing. That at least is a little nicer, if you ask me, than the short web. This turned out to be such a phenomenal looking Spider-Man figure. If given the choice, like I had mentioned before, if you had the choice between getting the Marvel Select version of the Spider-Man or the Marvel Legends version of Spider-Man, without any doubt, I would go with the Marvel Select one. It's such a great looking piece, sculpt is phenomenal, and its articulation rivals those to what we're seeing with the Legends class figures. For that reason, Spider-Man here, I'm going to give you a 9. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the Diamond Select toys, Marvel Select of the Amazing Spider-Man 2. We're having a look at today at the Disney Store exclusive, the Unmasked Spider-Man. Though, truthfully, really, Spot doesn't have him unmasked right now, but still a great looking figure to say the least. Thanks for watching as you always do, guys, and certainly stay tuned. Spot's going to have many more Toy Spots heading your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.